Number 10. Cockroaches. Nice. Hope you're eating a snack right off the bat. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4 recently. Cockroaches are going to outlive all of us. Apparently, you see it in movies, you see it in comic books, games. These little guys can survive anything, and they're really gross to look at, and they're fast. They can survive a literal apocalypse, however that may look. There are over 4,000 species of cockroaches, believe it or not, and they can withstand high levels of radiation, and they're on track right now to outlast all of our insecticides. This is so scary. I'm alarmed while I'm doing this. While these creepy crawlies are exposed to toxins, they quickly evolve right there in front of our very eyes. They can evolve on the spot. We're literally making them stronger right now. Although cockroaches will live 2 years at most, females give birth to around 300 offspring at a time. I just got goosebumps. That's horrible. I'm not a fan of bugs, but, well, we're at number 10, so it's gonna get worse. Number 9, mosquitoes. These little bloodsuckers have been around since the age of dinos. They're all over you when you're outside, when you're camping. All of a sudden, you're scratching all weekend and it's not fun. They're annoying, but when it comes to the Amazon rainforest, mosquitoes there are much worse than you could ever imagine. Mosquitoes are one of the most dangerous because, well, for starters, they can fly. That ought to be pretty helpful. And you don't see them coming, and by the time you do, it's far too late. That's it. If you travel to parts of the Amazon rainforest and you don't have yellow fever vaccinations or extremely strong mosquito repellent, well, you're gonna have a very bad time, my friend. These suckers are literally just clouds of malaria just waiting for you to walk into. Even cottages, I can't do it. I have to wear the net costume around my head the whole time. I feel like a knight when I wear one of those, but you know what? I feel safe. Number 8, box jellyfish. Let's go under the sea for a hot minute. We talked about the blue ring octopus on here before, so, you know, what other haunting discovery lurks below the waves? Box jellyfish, of course, also not wise to touch, so don't think about it. But Australian box jellyfish specifically, they have plenty of venom. They're super deadly, and it doesn't help that they're practically transparent in the ocean. They look like little bags of skin going by. I don't know why I said bags of skin. That's an odd thing to say. You won't see them coming at all. They're just clear blobs that float towards you, and its tentacles can sting you with its millions of nematocysts. Also, peeing on your leg won't solve this problem. It's not gonna work this time, pal, alright? Zip up, not a good idea. Australian box jellyfish carries around toxins that cause extreme pain, paralysis, delirium, cardiac arrest, and or even death, all within 5 minutes or less. You won't even have time to get your goggles off and ask for help. You'll be done, just like that. One jellyfish has enough venom to kill 60 adults. Yikes, I'm never swimming again in the ocean. Specifically, not with 59 other adults, that's for sure. That's a bad setup.
Number 7, the frilled shark. Chlamydos lacus ingenius, aka the frilled shark, is the extinct species of shark that once swam our oceans. Thank gosh. Well, actually kinda still does. Oh. The frilled shark is considered a living fossil, not just its age and time spent surfing the coast, due to its primitive eel-like brown body. Its snake-like jaws, 8-foot body, and the way it moves under the water are all common in ancient serpents and water creatures. Yeah, this thing's a water dragon, basically. This thing's like an eel-serpent-shark hybrid. It swims the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, usually in deep, murky water. So am I just gonna like snorkel into one of these things any day now? Good thing is that these things are really hard to find. Like, really hard. Usually caught by accident in commercial fishing nets, usually at depths anywhere between 50 and 1,000 meters. So unless you're free diving at night and have a supersonic lung span, you should be okay.
Number 6, the gastric brooding frog. I'm a big fan of frogs, except for when they, you know, hatch out of their back. I don't like that. It's arguably the worst thing I've ever seen online, and I have read it, and I've had read it for years. These frogs would swallow its egg back in the day, and then they would hatch them out of their mouth. If you watched it backwards, you'd be like, no, stop. They all went extinct back in 1983, but scientists have somehow figured out how to implant dead cells into a fresh egg from an entirely different frog species. So we may just see this fancy frog make a fancy comeback. Yeah, let's just hope these ones aren't born out of their backs. Do you want to see it? I feel like you want to see it. There it is. Enjoy it. You asked for it. Thumbs up for this. You know, it's life, it's nature.
Number 5, the giant sloth. Megatherium is an extinct species of ground sloth. Locals to South America, they lived between the Pliocene through the Pleistocene eras. Basically like a really long time. Yeah, this thing was big and heavy as a modern day elephant, but like sloth form. This massive beast was first discovered in 1788 on the banks of Argentina. The bones, of course, not one, Megatherium became extinct around 12,000 years ago, thank gosh, during the Quaternary extinction event, which also claimed most other large mammals in the New World. The extinction coincides with early America's settlement and the kill sites where sloths were slaughtered. I tried. Suggesting that humans were out fist-fighting these things, aiding in such extinction. Yeah, all of a sudden mammoths are like way less scary. I wonder if they moved as slow too. Like a bear the size of an elephant moving in slow motion. So I just like throw it, it's like right here. Just be like, there.
Number 4, Tasmanian tiger. Once native to Australia, of course the land of horrors, the Tasmanian tiger, also known as the thylacine, was a massive carnivorous marsupial that went extinct around the 1930s. Thank the Lord. Major factors here are, as you guessed, climate change, hunting, and its genetic diversity wasn't all too great. Now it's sad on one hand because these beautiful creatures, also kind of terrifying, they disappeared so recently, but it's recent enough that we have a shot at bringing them back. Yeah, I'm just scaring you with this one. I'm like, it's terrifying, right? They're coming back 2024 in IMAX. Yeah, imagine looking outside and seeing this thing on your own front yard. Are we ready for this? I'm not. I've seen a moose once. Very scary, very scary. I was going 40 miles an hour. I was like, that's it. Specimens still remain preserved in jars. Yeah, thank God for those jars. I was wondering what that was in the fridge. A Tasmanian tibia. Nice, yum. In the science world, we already have some of the Tasmanian tiger genes present after scientists inserted them into a mouse fetus. Again, bold, but sure, they did it. One guy thought of that. How gross is that? The Australian Museum has been working hard to bring this beast back to life, only they're still lacking the DNA to fully recreate it. So if you have any jars of Tasmanian tiger parts, lend a helping hand for science, please. Number 3, the black widow. Another spider, just cause I hate myself. We've all heard about this spider, but just how bad is her bite? The black widow is not only 1, extremely painful, but 2, it's incredibly toxic. Now at first you may not even feel anything. You may think you were bitten by a mosquito. There's slight irritation on the skin at first, nothing too bad, but an hour later, it is much, much worse. Now the ball's rolling. You'll be disoriented, you'll be dizzy, you'll be nauseous, your breathing will become difficult, all because of one little bite. Male black widows are much smaller and they contain much less venom than that of the female. A fact that you may have heard about this spider already that I can't get over personally is that the female black widow actually begins eating the male while they're mating, while they're getting it on. Top 10 ways to spice up your spider marriage. You won't believe number 4. That is brutal. Oh, those poor guys. Now this is called Latrodectus mirabilis, and it's now the scariest thing that I've ever heard. If you do get bit, just relax, take it slow and breathe because luckily we have an anti-venom for this bite. Number 2, scorpions. I always say I'm afraid of spiders, and that's for sure a fact, but I'm sleeping on scorpions. They're a horrible combination of everything scary. Scorpions can survive in deserts, rainforests, some mountains. I mean, I don't want to alarm anybody here on Bumblebee, but they're kind of everywhere. I don't know, one might be under your bed right now as you're watching this, right as you're clicking that thumbs up right now, right as you're hitting subscribe right now. A scorpion could be hitting subscribe. A scorpion can subscribe with its stinger, you know? Sometimes you'll find a scorpion completely frozen outside. It's immobile and otherwise dead. But as time passes on, keep an eye on it because some researchers would watch for these frozen scorpions and watch and wait for them to come back to life. They can do that. They slow their metabolism rate enough so if need be, they can live off of 1 insect a year. Bet you didn't know that, right? Terrifying, you're welcome. And finally, number 1, ants. Small but mighty, and they come in thousands, and they travel up your window and into your house. Ants are so scary, we have to talk about them. There's thousands of species of ants. We've talked about the bullet ant on here before, and how their bites feel like a bullet wound. Their sting is considered the most powerful in the world, and its effects can last 24 hours. That alone is a scary individual ant. But these guys come in all different shapes and sizes. The feature that allows them to survive for so long, of course, they can live deep in the ground, but they also sacrifice each other. That's the thing they do every day. They grab an ant and they're like, huh, and they just throw them off of a curb or something. If one ant is sick or injured, they'll all decide as an ant group that it's that ant's time to go. That's crazy. These guys are ruthless. How wild is that? They do this to ensure the safety of the rest of the colony, so that it doesn't get sick or, you know, it doesn't slow anyone down. That's brutal. That is ruthless. They're like little Vikings with antenna. They've been around for a very, very long time, and there's no reason to believe that any apocalypse can hold any ant or an ant colony back. I'm terrified. I spilled the drink yesterday. Now I feel like there's ants everywhere. What do I do?
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Megalodon. I am starting this list off with my favorite prehistoric sea monster, the infamous Megalodon. Megalodons are one of the largest sharks to have ever existed. They were huge, they were terrifying, they were apex predators, and they are the creatures that inspired the tales of Jaws, or the Meg. The teeth on these sharks are so large that they are 3 times larger than the teeth of a modern great white shark. With teeth that size, you can only imagine how large this shark would have been. It's pretty tough to figure out exactly why the Megalodon died out. I mean, they were one of the largest, scariest creatures who shouldn't have had any trouble getting food, but that might not be the case. Some believe it was the cooling water, others believe it was competition for food. Whatever the case, in the end, while the Megalodon is an incredible creature in history, I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief that they aren't swimming around our oceans anymore.
Number 7. Black Caiman. If you aren't a fan of alligators or things with a lot of teeth, you might want to skip to the next one. Black Caiman is the largest family member in the Alligatoridae crew. Alligatoridae crew. Alligatoridae. That sounds like a spell. Alligatoridae. Turn you into a Alligatoridae. These super alligators live in calm, slow-moving rivers. Places you really wouldn't expect, a dinosaur to jump out at you all of a sudden. Just like dangerous river snakes, these black caiman will take it slow and wait for their prey to have a sip of water. And then the largest predator in the Amazon will grab its lunch in a second and then quickly return to the water. You won't even see them, they'll just grab it and go. Maybe they'll do that twisty thing, that's terrifying. Birds, reptiles, mammals, this thing can and will eat everything. Between 2008 and October 2013 alone, there were 43 black caiman attacks on people, and a handful of these were sadly fatal. Number 6. The Green Anaconda. Remember the movie Anaconda with Ice Cube in it? That was a great time, that was cool. This movie came out 25 years ago and I still remember it to this day. It made me extremely afraid of snakes and the water, and also Ice Cube. I thought every snake was like a 30-foot long snake after this. It was not a good time. But just how accurate was that film? Although the green anaconda is a non-venomous snake, the boa constrictor is still one of the most feared. Green anacondas specifically live in calm marshes or slow streams. Again, they wait until their large prey gets thirsty, and then once they come to the water, the anaconda surfaces and suffocates its lunch. Yeah, anacondas hunt prey that's larger than us humans, so if they wanted to, they could for sure eat us. There's only no evidence of it happening because humans rarely interact with them in the first place, which is a pretty funny statistic, I guess. So anacondas don't know that they can eat us yet. So let's stay away just for good measure. Green anacondas can reach lengths of up to 30 feet long, so plenty of space for you and yours. Number 5, the devil worm. I mean, its name certainly sounds confident and scary. What is this thing? A worm from the underworld. Of course, this thing can survive it all, even apocalypse probably. This guy's literally from hell. The devil worm is a type of nematode, and it looks pretty haunting only under a microscope. In person you can't really see it, but then when you look, it's the worst thing you've ever seen. The thing that sets this little devil apart from the rest of these bugs or creatures, whatever you want to call it, is that it doesn't need oxygen to survive, and it can do so in complete darkness and under the most extreme pressure. The devil worm is the deepest living animal on Earth, hence its cool and haunting nickname. Number 4, the cave robber spider. Also a cool nickname, but I don't like spiders, so here we go. The worst thing ever. Welcome back to Bumblebee. The cave robber spider, or Troglodyte, can't tell which name is worse, I guess, is a quick cave predator that has a fun little addition over your standard spider. How neat is that? The cave robber has claws on the end of its legs, just to make it even worse. The cave robber likes to hang from its web from the top of, you guessed it, pitch black caves, and when it feels something a little too close for comfort passing below, it snaps its prey with its claws. One would compare it to a praying mantis, only in dark caves, and also a terrifying spider on the ceiling that you don't see. Stellar combo, if you ask me personally. If you live in Southwest Oregon, I'm so sorry. Please don't go in any caves.
In our number 3 spot today, we have the Leviathan. If we were to look at our ocean today, we of course would see sharks as one of the top predators that exist. I mean, some sharks are huge, and they certainly know how to hunt, but they aren't the only scary creatures roaming the oceans. Sometimes, killer whales make such a grand appearance that they even scare off some of the most terrifying sharks and make them flee for incredible distances. This is something that was also seen many many years ago, I mean millions of years ago, during the time of the Megalodon, and that is thanks to this gigantic creature known as the Leviathan. If you are unfamiliar, this is a now extinct genus of macroraptorial sperm whale. It is believed that they could weigh around 100,000 pounds and reach up to 57 feet in length, and it's thought that their size is what helped repel other predators while also helping them become the predator themselves. The Leviathan also had enormous teeth that reached over a foot in length, which is what gave them the title of largest bite of any tetrapod. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Kronosaurus. This Cretaceous marine reptile is one that had an elongated head, a short neck, and a stiff body that was propelled by not just one, but 2 sets of fins that helped it get through the water and through strong currents in order to capture whatever prey it was after. These guys were somewhere around 30 to 40 feet in length, and they had many long, sharp, conical teeth, with some of them being enlarged to be fangs. So yeah, I mean, what more could you want from a terrifying sea creature? Along with the fossils found of these guys, experts have been able to determine some of the stuff they ate, and it includes turtles as well as other pliosaurs, which these guys are a part of that genus, meaning they basically ate their own family. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Mauosaurus. These guys are a creature that was once very real, but thankfully are a relic of our past because they are absolutely horrifying. They are named after the Maori god Maui, who is said to have pulled the islands of New Zealand up from the sea floor, so anything named after him is of course going to be an absolute ginormous beast. The neck of this creature measured around 49 feet long, which is the longest proportionate neck of any animal. The entire creature is measured around 66 feet, so it is clear that their neck counted for quite a large portion of their body. But like, imagine a swimming dinosaur creature with a huge snake for a neck. That's kind of what these guys were like. These guys lived on Earth during the Cretaceous period, which is good news for us, but not so much for the creatures that lived at the time. Creatures would jump into the water to avoid a T-Rex, only to find this guy waiting for them. Yeah, no thanks.
Number 10, the walking worm. Okay, this was my nickname back in high school. Nice, good to be back. This one sounds nice. Earthworm Jim, Gumby, I got them all. Just a walking, lanky worm dude. Meet the Hallucigenia fortis, named by Simon Conway Morris back in 1979. Conway Morris named it Hallucigenia fortis because of its bizarre and dreamlike quality. Sure, art's subjective, I guess, to each their own. There were over 109 specimens of these strange aquatic creatures, and they ranged in size from half a centimeter to 3 centimeters long. Now, number 10 on our list, okay, gotta start small, not too large, and since it was an invertebrate, it lacked a spine. Just like me, no spine, you know, just all worm. Just all air, like an inflatable person. Defining features of the walking worm, as its name suggests, were these tentacles that protruded out from the body. It had spikes that it maybe and possibly probably walked on. How terrifying is that? And in 2015, scientists realized where its head was. Yeah, its real head. We thought a fossilized stain was its head for like 35 years, and then in 2015, we found its real head, and it looks like it's grinning almost, with 2 eyes. Dare I say worse than the stain? Let's stop looking.
Number 9, the big fin squid. From the Magnapinidae family, the big fin squid, or as I like to call it, this ocean alien with shoulders and elbows, belongs to a group of rarely seen cephalopods with a distinctive morphology, meaning that they're really weird looking and really rare. The first record of us catching and looking at this thing comes from 1907 in the Azores, but due to the damaged nature of the find, little information could be actually extracted. It just looked like a piece of wet crinoline pulled out of a lake. During the 80s, 5 specimens were found in the Atlantic and Pacific, so eventually the creature found a place amongst the books as its own species, entering the Magnapinidae, or squids. So it's not actually a squid, but like a third cousin. This thing looks like it crashed here on an asteroid, doesn't it? The arms are huge and held perpendicular to the body, creating the illusion of arms and elbows, giving it its trademark alien figure. Some of these things are longer than 10 meters too. That's like a school bus. These things are definitely living under the ice on Jupiter. I'm just gonna say it. I said it.
Number 8, giant dragonfly. Dragonflies are awesome. I have a dragonfly tattoo. I had to check which arm. That's awesome. Welcome to being 28, I guess. But these sticky lads are old school, okay? Dragonflies are sweet. They were the first winged insects to ever evolve 300 million years ago. Modern dragonflies have wingspans of only 2 to 5 inches, but ancient giant dragonflies, again, as their name suggests, well, their wingspan was 2 to 3 feet. they're a lot bigger and scarier and stickier. I hope they never come back to this size. Again, like I mentioned in part 1, it's that high oxygen level that does the body good. Yeah, the Paleozoic era had these beasts hovering around because, you know, the air was too good back then. Nearly all of their head is its eye, so you're f***ed in every angle, basically. The movie Dune, if you've seen this recently, great film. The ornithopters, they're engineered to fly like a dragonfly. This is based on real life science. Engineers in real life are studying dragonflies, their flight patterns right now with their wings. Just keep them small and we're good. Study away. Keep them small, please.
In our number 6 spot today, we have the Jacalopterus. Okay, I've got 3 words for you. Giant sea scorpion. Yeah, remind me to never go into the prehistoric ocean. This 8-foot-long arthropod lived in the water with its gross, too large pincers and claws, and honestly, it looks like something out of the movie Alien. These guys had segmented bodies, and they're actually the largest known arthropod to have ever existed here on Earth. They had multiple specialized limbs, and some of them even had spikes. Like, for example, their 18-inch spiked claw that was used to snatch fish that passed by. It is said that some of these guys would crawl out of the water in order to mate and sometimes shed their outer skin, and all I have to say is imagine finding an 8-foot-long molt of one of these creatures on the beach right before you jump in for a swim. You wouldn't, right? I'd swear off all water after that. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Helicoprion. Okay, listen, there are many problems with our modern world. We could sit here all day talking about them. We could even go into next week, there are so many. But here's the thing we need to realize. Things could be so much worse, and by worse, I mean that this creature could still exist. This animal existed somewhere around 250 million years ago, and while it looks more like a shark than anything else, scientists now know that it was actually a creature that is related more closely to chimeras, which are a fish that separated from the shark family about 400 million years ago. So why is this animal so scary and just terrible to look at? Well, that is due to the incredibly unsettling spiral saw formation of teeth that this creature had right on their lower jaw. Yeah, an orthodontist's dream, truly. It's also not like this creature was just born with the teeth that they had for the rest of their lives. No, of course not. They had teeth that could grow, and new teeth could even form. Imagine being in the ocean and you see a huge creature swim up to you that has 4 spiral saws for teeth. Yeah, no thanks. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Mosasaurus. During the Cretaceous period, which spanned about 145.5 to 65.5 million years ago, there was this genus of reptiles called Mosasaurus. These guys were absolutely huge aquatic reptiles that roamed throughout the waterways here on Earth. Because of their size, they became apex predators during this time, and they have been estimated to have grown to about 56 feet. At the time of their existence, it isn't exactly likely that they would have encountered any sharks that are alarmingly large like the Megalodon was, but I mean the Cretaceous period certainly had some other massive creatures that put up some pretty stiff competition. This is of course, like I mentioned, an entire genus, so there are definitely some less threatening species in the mix, but there are some in there who would have given the Meg a run for their money should they have existed at the same time.
Number 3. Dunkelostis, from Dunkel's bones, named after paleontologist David Dunkel, who discovered and studied the fossils. Ostis is Greek for bone, referring to the giant tectonic plates looking things that this thing is made up of. Being one of the largest and most powerful fish ever to swim in our waters, ever, these swimming tanks could eat pretty well anything it wanted, including other Dunkelostises. This thing was top dog. The first remains were discovered along Lake Erie cliffs. That's scary, that's like right over there. Dunkelostis could suck in and bite straight through any animal alive at the time, from the thick-shelled ammonites to the other placoderms with body armor. This thing was basically like the great-great-grandfather of any fish who eats other fish. They would even bite each other and dent their own armor. Their diet shifted from soft-bodied prey such as whales and sharks to larger armored prey such as placoderms. Basically it liked to eat the little crunchy stuff instead of the soft-bodied megalodons. What a sentence.
Number 2, the moa. This New Zealand bird went extinct about 600 years ago. See, moa, they were these flightless birds, massive, might I add, and archaeologists first discovered its fossil in a cave, just hidden in the very back, right in the depths. Its flesh and everything was still attached. See, these ancient birds would reach about 5 feet tall, and when you think of dinosaurs, you probably think that's quite petite in comparison, but no, listen up. The birds stopped flying right after the dinosaurs went extinct. According to biologist Matthew Phillips from the Australian National University of Canberra, once the dinosaurs off, they now had freedom. They could go outside without having to make any daring escapes, right? They weren't terrified every day to be lunch. They walked around, they got fat, and they hung out in caves. So it might seem a little depressing to watch a creature lose the ability to fly, but it's because they're eating good, you know? They're good problems, right? Scientists have recently discovered moa DNA from ancient eggshells, so there's a possibility we might see these fatties hit the skies once again. Let's keep them on Weight Watchers this time around, you know? Let's keep them in the sky, keep them.
Number 1. Eurypterid. Long story short, an ancient huge sea scorpion. That's it. I'm done. No, I said no spiders, earwigs, and scorpions. No, that's it. An extinct group of arthropods that formed 470 million years ago, with 250 species of its own, the Euryptid is the most diverse Paleozoic class of its time. This is like the first of the creepy crawly stinger pincher things, you know? They declined in numbers and diversity until becoming extinct during the Triassic extinction event about 250 million years ago. Yeah, thank God. I can't even put a crayfish on a hook without squirming. Called sea scorpions, of course, because of 2 qualities. Being able to go in and out of water and having 2 sets of lungs. Yeah, this thing's a fossil, right? This thing just got way more terrifying. They are the largest known arthropods ever to have lived on Earth, ranging anywhere between 1 foot and 4 feet big. That's a longboard, Taylor. A skateboard with claws and pinchers and a tail, in and out of the water. Alright, the animal kingdom. How beautiful.